The elements in the material world. Just as the human body must operate with a balance of the elements, so also must the world we live on operate on a balance of elemental forces and electromagnetic fluids. We have just the body. Now pause for a moment and draw an analogy between the body and the world, and you will see that all the everyday happenings about us can be caused by interactions of the elements. Exercise, try figuring out everyday happenings and reactions by using the four-element system. The mind and the astral body. The mind, the personality, and the astral body are all intimately tied into the four elements and the akasha. An electromagnetic fluid connects your body for 2 or 3 feet in every direction. The elements control the personality, and a shortage or excess of any element is manifested in the personality features, and thus also in the character of a person. In one's temperament show in the aura, which as a result shows a certain characteristic colour. The aura itself results from the active and passive actions of the elements within the body. In the predominant colour of the aura, you can tell quite accurately what sort of character a person has. Sensing or seeing the aura will be covered later. The astral body has 2 centres, cerebrum being the seat of normal consciousness and the cerebellum being the seat of the subconscious. The astral body possesses psychic centres which generally match the major nerve centres of the physical body, and which seem to form definite links between the physical and the astral. In the psychically undeveloped or psychically dormant individual, these centres are not active. By training or by religious experience, the psychic centres may be opened properly, and the natural, magical forces of the world about us may be drawn through the centres and put to good use. Drugs and shattering emotional experiences may also open the psychic centres. Opening is sudden, and the results are usually disastrous, as the unfortunate individual has no idea of how to control the powerful forces that have begun flooding through his astral. A few examples of elemental influences on temperament are as follows. Active influences of the fire element are activity, enthusiasm, resolution. Passive influences of the fire element: gluttony, passion, intemperance, jealousy, irritability, destructiveness. Active influences of the air element are diligence, kindness, optimism, cheerfulness, adroitness, independence, a capacity for penetrating. Passive influences of the air element are contempt, slyness, lack of endurance. Active influences of the water element: devotion, modesty, calmness, forgiveness, compassion, cordiality. Passive influences of the water element are apathy, shyness, laziness, indifference. Active influences of the earth element: endurance, resolution, sobriety, confidence, thoroughness, scrupulousness, firmness. Passive influences of the earth element: dullness, tardiness, unscrupulousness, misanthropy, unreliability. Many more, of course, can be added to these lists. The Astral Plane. The Astral Plane is not created of the four elements, but is rather a manifestation of the Akasha principle. Hence, everything in the material world which has happened, is happening, and will happen, has its origin, regulation, and existence in the astral, the original source of all things, and since it is timeless, one can, with training and practice, travel to any part or any place via the astral. The astral plane, in addition to extending beyond time and space, has various kinds of inhabitants. Those who have died on the earth plane are here in what larvae, or beings which have been consciously or unconsciously brought into life on the astral plane by are also present. These are of a low order of intelligence, but possess a strong sense of self-preservation. Consciously created elemental beings also exist on the astral plane. These can be of high intelligence and of considerable aid to one who uses magic, and instructions for their creation are given in a later section. Beings of the four pure elements are also to be found. Salamanders of the fire element, sylphides or gremlins of the air element, mermaids or undines of the water element, and gnomes of the earth element. And there are a host of other beings who are also known in our ancient legends, and who seem to have been related to us at some time in the past. Satyrs, wood maidens, water goblins, centaurs, wood sprites, etc. The inhabitants of the astral plane seldom seem to encounter other types of inhabitants, are of a much higher vibration than larvae, and different yet from the undines, so that each is completely separated from the others. With development of clairvoyance, it is possible to see and to contact all who live on the astral plane. The spirit. The body and the soul serve only as a garment or veil for the spirit. The spirit is the immortal part, and created in the image of the ancient ones. It is not easy to define something divine, immortal, and imperishable, yet put it into correct terms with all else. Yet a few words can be said on the subject, and the rest left to meditation. The spirit has its source in the Akasha. Three elemental principles are, through the fire element, strength, power, and passion. Through the air element, memory, judgment, and discrimination. Through the water element, conscience and intuition. And through the earth element, egotism, confidence, and self-preservation. And through Akasha, faith. The mental plane. As the body has its earthly plane, and the astral body or soul owns the astral plane, so also does the mind have its own sphere, the mental plane. Like the other planes, it originated in Akasha. Just as the astral body through the electromagnetic fluid of the astral world forms an astral matrix about the physical body, so also does the electromental world form a mental matrix, linking the mental body to the astral body. Ideas and thoughts have their origin in the Akasha and enter the material world by way of the mental body. The mental sphere is bound neither to time nor to space. Like the astral, the mental plane is inhabited. Ideal forms exist here, and also the deceased, whose astral bodies have been dissolved by the elements in maturity towards perfection. Here also are the elemental beings which are created by conscious thought of the human mind. The God Force. In the craft, we know of the old ones, and count them as our friends, as that beyond them there are yet others who are greater. As witches and human beings, it normally suffices that we know the lady, the god, and the old ones. This is what is the nature of the God Force. The ultimate is inconceivable, intangible, and incomprehensible, yet we are a part of it. Through the practice of some small part of this force, and gradually gain an understanding which is far beyond that of our fellow men. The God Force can be approached through the four elements, through fire, almightiness and omnipotence, through air, wisdom, purity and clearness, through water, love and eternal, and through earth, omnipresence and immortality, thus eternity. There is, of course, much more to magical theory, and much further reading is recommended. Specifically, the works of Franz Baden and W.E. Butler. However, this section is sufficient for the moment for you to understand the magical training and practice that you will be given in this grimoire. Consider and meditate what you have heard so far.